The screen flickers to life, framing Kody's familiar face in a picture of hesitancy and determination. Behind him, the faint glow of a living room makes his features seem to stretch long across his face, underlining the weight of months of fatigue he has carried alone. On the other end, Janelle flashes on screen, her lips pressed together, eyebrows knitting in concentration, as an unseen storm brews behind her eyes. She doesn't speak right away. She waits, getting a sense that whatever Kody has to say isn't casual chit-chat. There's Meri, whose expression is a careful mask of calm, but her fingers betray her nervousness as she fidgets with the edge of a pillow, betraying the storm beneath her quiet demeanor. "Hi, how are you guys?" Kody finally says, his voice unusually soft, almost cautious, as if stepping on fragile glass. In response, a silence, heavier than what he could have imagined, follows his words. Each second stretches, pregnant with all the unspoken accusations, old wounds, and years of complicated history. Tension, almost palpable, thick enough that you could cut it with a knife. Janelle clears her throat. Her voice is firm, but with a tinge of skepticism. "We're okay, Kody, I guess. Why did you want to talk exactly?" Meri's eyes dart between them, not knowing whether to intervene or keep silent. "Yeah, I mean, what's this about?" she asks softly, a tinge of apprehension in her voice. There is a tremble there, just barely discernible, but enough to reveal the fear of yet another painful confrontation. Kody swallows hard, his eyes moving from Janelle to Meri, weighing every word before it escapes his lips. I think we need to clear the air. Things have been messy," he finally says, almost in a whisper. But the tension doesn't dissipate. It coils tighter around the three of them, like a storm building in slow motion. Even through a screen, the subtleties are glaring. Janelle's posture stiffens, an evident signal of her bracing for something she doesn't want to hear. Meri's lips press into a thin line, her hand tightening around the pillow, whitening the knuckles. These small, almost imperceptible gestures carry years of disappointment and frustration with them. Emotional baggage that cannot simply be unpacked in one phone call. Kody adjusts in his seat, and for the very first time, leans towards the camera, and a shadow of vulnerability flits across his face. I know I have made mistakes, choices that are going to impact every one of us. And I didn't handle it like I should have, he reveals, a break barely escaping his voice. The words hang in the air, almost too heavy to bear, and for one small poignant second, silence reigns. It's not just silence, it's the echoing of years of unresolved conflict. A vacuum of trust stretched across the screen. Janelle lets out a sharp exhalation, a combination of frustration and incredulity. Decisions? Kody, it feels like every time we turn around, there's something new, something we didn't know about, something that changes everything, she says, her voice rising just enough to betray the anger buried inside of her for months. Meri's eyes glisten as her calm veneer begins to crack. "I just don't want us to fight again," she mutters, almost pleading. "Can't we just talk?" Her words are simple, but the weight behind them is immense. They are not just asking for a conversation, but asking for peace, something searched for but never usually found in these moments. Kody nods slowly, his acknowledgement showing the depth of the situation, but the hesitance in his eyes says he realizes immediately that this conversation will be anything but easy. "I want that too," he says quietly. "I really do. But some things need to be said, and some truths, they're not easy to hear." The tension tightens, wrapping around all three of them like an invisible cord. Every pause, every glance, carries decades of emotion: hurt, disappointment, love, and fear. It is a complex web, impossible to untangle in a hurry, and yet they are forced to try, pushed together by the shared history that none of them can escape. Janelle leans back, crossing her arms, her lips pressed in a thin line of determination. "Okay, Kody, then say it. Just say what you need to say. But be aware, this isn't going to be easy for any of us." Her words are calm, but carry an unmistakable edge. She's prepared for conflict, but beneath that resolve, there's a current of vulnerability that threatens to spill over at any moment. Meri swallows, nodding slowly. "Yeah, I'm listening. But I need you to understand. This changes everything depending on what you say." Her tone is gentle, almost hesitant, yet it carries the unspoken weight of her emotional armor, carefully placed after years of disappointment. Kody takes a deep breath, gathering himself visibly, trying to balance the need to confess with the fear of the fallout. I made a choice," he says finally. "A choice I thought I could handle alone. Something I believed was best for the family. But now, I see that keeping it to myself was a mistake." The words strike like a lightning bolt across the screen. Janelle's eyes widen, a flash of anger, confusion, and disbelief crossing her features. Meri's hand tightens around her pillow, her body frozen as if bracing the impact. They had no idea what Kody was about to reveal, but the tension in the virtual room is palpable, electrifying, and terrifying all at once. For a moment, the call hangs in limbo. Each of them is poised in a delicate balance of anticipation and fear. Then Janelle breaks the silence, her voice trembling ever so slightly, despite her attempt at composure. "Kody, what are you talking about? What choice?" Kody exhales and his shoulders sag slightly. I thought I was doing the right thing for all of us. But now, I'm not so sure. I need you both to hear the whole story before you react." Meri nods, her throat tight, and swallows hard. "Okay. Tell us everything, please." The tension is suffocating, even across the digital connection. It's the perfect storm of emotions: anticipation, fear, unresolved history. The air seems to pulse with the weight of what's about to be revealed. And silently, but unanimously, all three have agreed. Once this conversation begins, nothing will ever be the same again. Kody leans in once more, his eyes welling up with regret and a steely sense of determination. "I've been holding back for too long. I thought I was protecting everyone, but now I see I was only protecting myself from having to face the consequences." Janelle exhales, rubbing her temples, a mixture of exasperation and sorrow washing over her. "Kody, it's always about consequences, isn't it? When do we come first?" Meri's voice is barely above a whisper, but it cuts through the tension like a knife. "We have to hear it, all of it, even if it hurts." Kody nods, his face heavy with the weight of what he is about to share. "I promise, I'll be honest. I need to be." The call drags on, each word a careful dance, and each pause filled with accusations and memories of past betrayals. It is an elaborate choreography of emotions in which one misstep could shatter the fragile connection they are trying to keep. Unbearable and irresistible, the tension draws them and the audience further into the drama. The camera lingers on their faces, every flicker of emotion amplified by the digital distance. Kody's hands tremble slightly, revealing the calm facade he's trying to display. Janelle narrows her eyes to prepare herself for the truth. Meri's lips part, almost in a silent plea, as she so much hopes the revelation doesn't snuff out the fragile hope that something good can still come from this conversation. And then, as if the universe itself is holding its breath, Kody begins to speak. His voice is steady now, carrying the weight of truth, regret, and the hope of reconciliation. What he says next is going to set the stage for everything that is going to follow. Every conflict, every tear, every heartfelt plea for understanding. What was once an awkward call has become a crucible of emotion, a test of loyalty, trust, and forgiveness. And for all three of them, the moment of truth is finally here. The moment Kody's words hang in the air, the expression on Janelle's face hardens. She clutches the edge of her chair, bracing herself against an invisible storm. Messy? That's one word for it, she says, her voice sharper than before, slicing through the fragile calm Kody had tried to maintain. But don't act like it's just a misunderstanding. Meri winces at Janelle's tone, her body rigid with the expectation of some sudden confrontation. Her eyes cut to Kody, questioning in silence. How could he let it get this far? And just what is he about to reveal that's making Janelle erupt like this? The next few moments fall silent, each passing second a deafening echo of unsaid words and unresolved tensions. Kody's eyes drop for a moment as a flicker of guilt crosses his face. I didn't handle things well, he says quietly. His tone is low and filled with regret. I thought I could handle it on my own, but now I realize. I was wrong. Janelle lets out a sharp exhale, leaning back just a bit. But she never takes her eyes off Kody. Wrong? Wrong doesn't even begin to cover it. Have you any idea what we have gone through, what we have felt, while you were hiding this? Her words are measured, loaded with the kind of frustration that only follows after years of disappointment. Meri's voice, usually soft and cautious, cracks as she joins in. I don't want us to fight. Can't we find a way to get through this without tearing each other apart? Her plea hangs in the air, but the storm is already raging. Kody swallows, his Adam's apple bobbing nervously. I want that too, he says. I've been trying to protect you, but I realize now that keeping things from you only made it worse. The tension between them is palpable, even through the digital connection. Every subtle nuance, the furrow of Janelle's brow, the tight grip with which Meri holds onto her pillow, Kody's shifting nervousness, lays layer after layer on a history neither of them can seem to shake. Memories of arguments past, promises broken, and years of grievances unspoken come crashing into the room like waves, threatening to whisk them all away. You always do this, Janelle continues, her voice rising just slightly, her anger tempered by hurt. Pretend like everything's fine when it's not. Like you can just smooth over years of decisions that hurt people. Meri bites her lip, her head nodding slightly as her heart speeds up. She knows Janelle's words are right. Every time Kody has tried to cope alone, wedges are driven into the family, seemingly too hard to mend. History weighs down upon them, the weight as every unspoken resentment, fueling the growing tension. I didn't want to burden you, Kody says softly, almost pleading. I thought I was making the right call, protecting the family from more hurt. But I see now, I only made things worse. The storm isn't over. It's just beginning. Janelle leans forward, her hands gesturing wildly, and her eyes ablaze with a mixture of disbelief and anger. Worse? Kody, it's not just worse. It's catastrophic. We've all felt it, lived it. And you? You acted like it didn't matter. Meri shuts her eyes for a moment, trying to steady herself, trying to absorb the emotional battering without falling apart. But the words cut deep. Each accusation a reminder of years of struggle, compromise, and quiet suffering. Kody nods, his voice shaking just a little. I know. I see that now. I see everything I've done wrong, and I want to make it right. Make it right, Janelle repeats, incredulous. You can't make this right with just words. You have no idea how deep the damage goes. Meri's eyes open, and there is a tinge of sadness with fear in their depths. But we have to try, she says softly. We can't stay in this limbo forever. We need to confront it, whatever it is, and find a way to move forward. The words hang in the air, like a thin bridge over a chasm of resentment. Kody leans back, exhaling slowly, as their weight bears down on him. Every glance, every silent thought, seems amplified, magnified, impossible to ignore. Retention line. Tensions are reaching a boiling point. But what Kody reveals next will leave them stunned. The topic of conversation subtly shifts now. Kody's voice is firmer, laced with fear and a determination behind it. There's something I need to confess, he says. Something I kept hidden, thinking it was for the best, but it wasn't. Janelle's jaw tightens. Hidden. Kody. What could possibly be hidden at this point? How much more could there be? Meri leans forward slightly, her voice trembling. Please, just tell us. I need to hear it. Kody's gulp is audible as he finds the courage to speak. I made a decision, one that affected all of us. At the time I thought it was right, but now I realize that it wasn't, and I can't take it back. The silence is instant, thick. Janelle's hands clench into fists, and her eyes widen with anticipation. The tension of the moment weighs upon each of their shoulders. The room, several hundred miles between the two, and only visible through their screens, seems smaller, tighter, as if the digital connection is itself charged with the intensity of the moment. You've got to understand, Kody continues, his voice breaking slightly. I thought I was protecting everyone. I thought I could handle it alone. But now I see. That was a mistake. Janelle shook her head, shocked. A mistake? Kody, it is not just a mistake. It's years of consequences we all had to live with, and you just kept it from us. Meri's lips quiver. Please, just tell us everything. We need the truth, even if it hurts. Kody nods, taking a deep breath. I will, I promise. But I need you both to listen fully before you react. Everything I did with the family in mind. I thought I was protecting us, but I see now I was only protecting myself from the fallout. Janelle lets out a sharp exhalation, running a hand over her face. Kody, it's always about the consequences with you, isn't it? When do we come first? Meri's voice is softer, almost a whisper, but holds enormous weight. We have to hear it all, even if it destroys what we thought we knew about each other. In an instant, the call becomes a battlefield of emotion, where every word, every pause, and every glance has the weight of history. Each little act carries meaning. Kody's hands shift. Janelle is rigid. Meri grips onto her pillow tightly. They are not just talking. They are fighting, forgiving, pleading, and confronting all at once. And then, Kody leans in, the glow of his screen reflected in his eyes. There's more, and it's not easy for me to say. But I owe it to both of you to be honest. The truth will hurt, I know, but it's the only way we can move forward. Janelle lets out a sharp breath again, leans backward, But her eyes never leave Kody. Go on, say it. But understand, this could change everything. Meri's fingers clench around her pillow, her knuckles white. We're ready, she whispers, though the fear and uncertainty in her voice belie her words. The digital room is holding its collective breath. Every second is eternal, every heartbeat magnified. And then Kody starts to speak, the moment that will unravel years of secrecy, tension, and unspoken resentment. Teaser line. The truth Kody's about to let out could change everything between them. Don't look away now. As he gets started, the storm that had been building for years starts to spill over. Old grudges surface, memories of past betrayals collide with the present, and both Janelle and Meri are forced to confront not just Kody's choices, but their own feelings of hurt, disappointment, and hope. In a matter of moments, the tense conversation explodes, each revelation setting off a powder keg of emotion. By the end of this call, it is clear, nothing will ever be the same. The fragile trust that had held them together is frayed, and the road ahead is uncertain, fraught with the weight of history and the possibility of forgiveness or permanent fracture. The air in this digital room feels heavier than ever. Kody leans closer to the camera, his eyes flickering between fear, guilt, and determination. There's something I haven't told you both, he says, much more quietly now, almost a whisper. But it holds years of weight in keeping a secret. Something I should have told long ago. Janelle freezes mid-breath, her chest tightening. The sudden gravity in Kody's tone sends a ripple through her entire body. She presses her lips together, eyes narrowing, trying to anticipate what could possibly be so serious that Kody waited this long to share it. Meri leans forward, her fingers wrapped tightly around the edge of her chair, as if holding onto it could steady the storm she feels brewing. What is it? She asks, her voice shaking slightly, almost afraid of the answer, yet unable to stop herself from asking. Kody exhales very slowly, as if every breath had the weight of his past. I made a decision that involved all of us. Something I thought I could handle on my own, but I was wrong. The silence afterward is deafening. Neither Janelle nor Meri moves. The look in their eyes is a reflection of shock, incredulity, and fear. The weight of Kody's words seems to suck the very air from the room, leaving only the pounding of their hearts. Janelle's voice shakes, but she forces herself to speak. Kody, why now? Why after all this time? This anger is tempered with vulnerability. The kind of anger springing from years of hurt and an urgent need to be understood. Meri's lips quiver. Please, just tell us everything, she whispers. Her eyes shine with unshed tears, a mix of anticipation, fear, and the faint hope that the revelation won't completely destroy the fragile connection they've maintained. Kody swallows hard. His Adam's apple bobs up and down nervously. I can't take it back, he states, his voice breaking slightly. You both need to know this, because keeping it inside, it's ripping me apart. I thought I was doing the right thing, but I see now I was wrong. And I need for you to forgive me, if that's even possible. Janelle's jaw tightens. Forgiveness? Kody, how many times have we picked up the pieces after your decisions? Her tone is laced with frustration and pain. Quite raw. You can't just drop a confession like this and expect everything to be okay. Text. P. Meri bites her lip, rapidly blinking her tears away. But we need to hear it. We have to. No matter how much it hurts. The words are soft, yet with a heavy weight. She is both bracing herself for impact and extending a hand toward a fragile reconciliation. Kody nods, tears welling in his eyes. "I'll tell you everything. But please, listen fully before you judge me. What I did thinking it was best for the family. But I see now, it was selfish in ways I never intended." The tension in the call tightens like a coiled spring. Every subtle shift in body language, Janelle's crossed arms, Meri's tightened grip on her chair, Kody's trembling hands, amplifies the emotional stakes. They are no longer just having a conversation. They are navigating a minefield of past choices, hurt feelings, and hidden truths. Kody's voice drops even lower, weighted with the gravity of his confession. "Months ago, I made a financial decision without telling either of you. I thought I was protecting the family, avoiding unnecessary stress, but it affected more than just me. It affected both of you, the kids, everything." Janelle flinches, her hands clenching at her sides. "You did what? Kody, how could you make a decision like that without talking to us? We're supposed to be a family." Meri's eyes widen as her heart races. "What exactly did you do, Kody?" Her voice is barely above a whisper, the fear in her palpable. She knows the answer could shatter trust, and yet she needs to hear it. Kody takes a deep breath, preparing himself for what he's about to say. I invested money in a way that I thought would help us all, but without asking first. And now, something went wrong. The repercussions are real. And I need to face them, but needed you both to know the truth first." It feels like the room shrinks in on them. Janelle's face goes white, her eyes narrowing. "You mean to say we're potentially in trouble because you made this choice alone?" Meri's lips quivered. "Kody, this could ruin everything. The house, the bills, our family's stability. Do you understand what you've done?" Kody nods solemnly. "I understand, and I'm ready to do whatever it takes to fix it. I didn't want to lie anymore. I couldn't carry it alone any longer." The tension is palpable, hanging in every corner of the digital room. Janelle's fingers drum against her knee, a nervous habit revealing the storm brewing beneath her composed facade. Meri's eyes glisten with tears, and she swallows hard, trying to process the enormity of Kody's confession. Janelle lets out a sharp exhale, running a hand over her face. "I can't believe this. I trusted you to think about us, to think about the family, and now—" She stops as her voice catches. Anger intertwines with heartbreak in her tone. "I don't know if I can just move past this." Meri leans forward slightly, her voice trembling. "But Kody, why now? Why tell us like this? Couldn't it have been handled differently?" Kody's eyes glimmer as he meets their gaze. "Couldn't. I've been carrying this weight for months, and it's eating me alive. I thought I was protecting you. But I see now. I was only protecting myself from having to face the consequences of my choices." Janelle shakes her head slowly, trying to make sense of the torrent of emotions coursing through her. "Consequences? Kody, this isn't about consequences. This is about trust. It's about honesty. It's about the way you think you can decide for all of us without including us." Meri bites her lip again to steady her voice. "We have to figure this out, but it's hard. It's going to take time to process everything. I need to understand why." Kody leans back slightly, rubbing his eyes, the weight of his confession pressing down on him like a physical force. "I'll explain everything. Every step. Every decision. I just need you to know that I really thought I was doing the right thing at the time. I was wrong, but it was coming from a place of trying to protect our family." The tension in the call peaks, reaching an apex. Words are not enough anymore. They need actions, explanations, reassurance. Every gaze and gesture speaks toward emotions that no single sentence could convey. The room, or rather the screen, becomes the crucible, where emotions, regrets, and confessions collide with the force of a storm. Tears glisten in Janelle's eyes as she digests the confession. Her tone softens. "Kody, I don't know if I can forgive you straight away. But we have to talk. Really talk. Every detail. No more secrets." Meri nods, her expression a mixture of relief and lingering fear. "Yes. Tell us everything. We need to hear it all, even if it hurts. Only then can we decide what to do next." Kody takes a deep breath and gathers the guts to say what has been bottled up for far too long. "Okay, here's everything." As he starts to unravel the full story, the call goes from tense to explosive. Every revelation, every hidden choice, comes crashing down like a bolt of lightning, stirring up raw emotions in both women. Shock, incredulity, anger, and even faint traces of understanding swirl in that digital room. Every response layered with years of complicated history and emotion. By the end of this call, the room, or the screen, feels charged with both devastation and possibility. Kody's confession has shaken the foundation of trust, but it also opens a door to truth, confrontation, and perhaps eventual healing. The confession hangs in the air, a storm cloud ready to break. Kody leans back slightly, his shoulders slumped, the weight of his words settling over the call. But it's far from over. Janelle's eyes blaze, her hands balling into fists at her sides, as her usually calm and measured face contorts with a mixture of anger, hurt, and disbelief. "All this time, you knew." Janelle's voice shook in rage. "And you said nothing. You thought keeping secrets would protect us." Meri, who is usually composed, shakes quite visibly this time. She tightly folds the edge of her chair, as though clinging to it could anchor her against the tidal wave of emotions crashing through the call. "Kody, how could you? All this time I trusted you. And you—" Her words break, swallowed by the tight knot of disbelief and sorrow in her throat. Kody gulps hard, his eyes shining. I thought I was doing what was best. I didn't want to hurt anyone. I wanted to protect all of you." He starts speaking, carrying the raw weight of his regret in his voice. "Protect us," Janelle snaps, leaning forward, eyes flashing. "Do you even hear yourself? Every decision you made, every choice you thought was best, has consequences, and now we're the ones left picking up the pieces." Meri's lips quiver, yet she doesn't raise her voice. Her heartbreak falls on quieter tones, but with no lesser depth. "It wasn't just about you, Kody. It was about all of us. And now, I don't even know where we stand." The tension is electric. Each word seems to ignite dry kindling. It feels like the virtual room has been charged with suppressed emotions for years, the bitter taste of past betrayal and raw disappointment. The air feels weighted and almost suffocating, like the screen might crack from the pressure. Janelle's hands fly into the air, frustration spilling out uncontrollably. "I can't believe you thought you could just handle this alone. Do you have any idea how we've suffered and never even known the truth? Every little argument, every misunderstanding, it's because of decisions you made behind our backs." Meri looks from Kody to Janelle, attempting to broker peace, while her own anger is rising to a head. "Janelle, let's just listen. We need to hear the full explanation before making any judgments." But Janelle shakes her head sharply. "No, Meri, I've listened. I've been listening for years. And every time, it's the same story. Kody makes a choice, and we live with the fallout. Kody's face pales, his calm facade slipping further. I know. I see now how wrong I was. I thought I was protecting everyone, but I realize now that I was only protecting myself from the consequences. I didn't mean to hurt you. I never wanted this. Meri's voice breaks slightly as she reaches for the edge of her pillow, gripping onto it like a lifeline. Then tell us the truth, all of it. No more hiding, no more protecting yourself. We need to hear it. And Kody does. He starts to reveal the decisions, the risks, the instances when he felt like he could protect the family from hurt. With each revelation, it hits the digital room like a thunderclap. Janelle's eyes widen in anger and disbelief, while Meri's mouth just slightly drops open. With each retold detail, the weight becomes unbearable for either woman to remain composed. Janelle's voice rises once more, sharper this time, an air of accusation lacing every word. Do you even realize what this means for all of us? The kids? Our lives? You think your intentions erase the damage? Kody shakes his head and swallows hard. I know it doesn't, and I'm ready to do whatever it takes to make it right. I just needed you to understand why I did it. Meri leans forward, tears streaming down her face. We need time to process this, but also, we need honesty. I can't handle any more half-truths, Kody. The tension rises further as the call carries on. Words collide, feelings explode, and that virtual space becomes a crucible for raw, unfiltered emotions. Anger in Janelle burns hot. Meri's sadness is deep, and Kody's regret hangs in the air. Every look, every quiver of the hand, every tear is reflective of the emotional weight nobody can escape. The tension suddenly rises when Janelle stands up, pacing in frustration. She runs her hands through her hair, as if trying to pull out the anger physically. I can't. I just can't. After everything, how do you expect us to move forward when the foundation of trust is gone? Meri, who is seated, leans back, but her eyes never leave Kody. We need to hear your plan. How do you intend to fix this? Or is this just another story where we're left to deal with the mess? Kody exhales, and his face is etched with exhaustion and sorrow. I want to make it right. I'll do anything. I need your forgiveness. And I know it won't come easy. But I can't hide anymore, not from you and not from the truth. The weight of his words hits home, and for a moment, the call goes silent. It's not peace. It's the lull before another storm takes hold, then rages again. Janelle's chest heaves as she fights to hold in the turmoil inside her. Meri wipes away a tear on her cheek, her fingers trembling, and Kody, for his part, despite his own anguish, tries to meet their eyes, searching for any thread of understanding in the melee. Then, because the universe would have it so, Kody's voice falters. There's one more thing, something I haven't admitted yet, and I'm scared of how it will affect both of you. Janelle stops mid-step, her eyes narrowing, as every single one of her muscles tenses up in anticipation and dread. Kody, what is it? Say it. No more hiding. Meri leans slightly forward, her hands clasping the edge of her seat. We need to hear it. Now. No more pauses. No more secrets. Please. Kody takes a deep breath and says the last part of his confession in a trembling voice that shows resolve. The words come like a bolt of lightning, moving through the two women and the audience alike. Their faces flash together in shock, disbelief, and a mix of sorrow and anger. Janelle's voice is shaking, her body trembling slightly as she whispers, I can't believe this. How could you, after everything? The tears fall freely now from Meri as her voice breaks. Kody, this changes everything. How do we even move forward after this? Kody drops his head, his own tears falling. I know. I don't expect it to be easy. I hope you can understand my intentions and eventually forgive me. This call drags on, the moments profoundly emotional, the pauses full of the prospect of reconciliation or complete fracture. The raw emotions played out are impossible to ignore. Anger, betrayal, sadness, regret, all collide in a digital space that feels almost suffocatingly intense. The silence following Kody's confession is deafening. Janelle leans back in her chair, eyes wide, hands knotted tightly in her lap. The storm of emotions from the past few minutes has taken its toll on her physically. Her breaths come shallow, rapid, as if trying to catch the pieces of herself that have been scattered across this conversation. Meri is opposite her, her fingers gripping the edge of her chair, knuckles white, streaks of tears running down her cheeks. She looks at Kody, searching his eyes for answers, for some thread of truth that might explain everything. Kody leans back as well, his shoulders heavy, face etched with guilt. I know this is a lot, he murmurs, his voice soft, almost broken. And I don't expect forgiveness right away. I just needed you both to know the truth. Janelle slowly shakes her head, letting out a sharp exhale. The truth? Kody, the truth doesn't erase the damage. It doesn't fix the consequences. Do you even realize how much we've had to deal with because of decisions you made alone? Meri swallows hard, her eyes glistening. We have to try to understand. But this, it's so much. It's like the foundation of everything we believed in has shifted beneath us. Kody nods, his voice shaking. I see that now. I see how my choices hurt all of you, and I would do anything to make it right. I have learned. I cannot carry it on my own. I should not have. To the room, or rather, the virtual space connecting them, feels charged with raw emotion. Every glance, every subtle movement carries the weight of years of unspoken grievances, past disappointments, and lingering love. The conversation is no longer just about the confession. It's about reckoning, about understanding how to navigate the emotional wreckage left in its wake. Janelle runs her hands over her face, her voice quieter, but no less intense. I don't even know where to begin. Every memory, every argument, every tear we've shed, it all feels different now. And I can't just pretend it didn't happen. Meri's voice shakes as she speaks. We have to figure out a way forward. But I can't lie, I'm scared. Scared of what this means for all of us, for the kids, for everything we've built. Kody exhales slowly, inclining his body forward, his hands clasped together. I understand, I know it's not going to be easy. I need to do better. I need to be better. And I want to start by listening, really listening to both of you. The anger hasn't vanished, nor the heartbreak. But the tension, though still thick, begins to shift subtly. There is a flicker of hope, a recognition that though the path forward is uncertain, it exists. The three of them are poised on the precipice of either reconciliation or further fracture. And every word, every decision will tip the balance. Janelle finally speaks. Her voice, quieter but firm. We need clarity, full clarity. No more secrets. Every detail, every choice, every reason. Only then can we even think about moving forward. Meri nods, though her hands continue to shake somewhat. Yes, we need everything laid out. Kody, if we're going to heal, We have to face all of it together. Kody takes a deep breath, collecting himself for the task at hand. I will. I promise. I'll answer everything. No more hiding. No more avoiding. You both deserve that much. The air is thick with expectation. Even across the screen, you can feel the weight of emotional pressure bearing down on all three. Every look, every micro-expression is freighted with meaning, anger and sorrow, fear, and the faint glimmer of hope. The stakes have never been higher. Kody starts to detail the timeline behind his decisions, his thought process for each, the moments he tried to spare the pain in the family. His voice carries the weight of guilt and sincerity, a heart-wrenching and compelling combination. Janelle listens, her body rigid, absorbing every word, while Meri's hands clutch the edge of her chair as though physically anchoring herself against the tide. The room, all screen, becomes a stage for raw emotion. Laughter, which might have broken the tension in earlier moments, is absent. There are no distractions, no reprieves. Every detail Kody shares adds layers of complexity, layers of consequence, and layers of emotion that neither woman can ignore. Finally, the tension is broken by Janelle's voice, sharp but tinged with vulnerability. I don't even know what to say. It's overwhelming. Every word. It cuts deeper than I imagined. And yet, I can see your intent. But intent isn't enough. Meri nods, her eyes welling with tears as she blinks rapidly. It's not enough. But perhaps it's a start. A painful start, but a start nonetheless. We need to see if we can take the next step together. Kody's face softens slightly, though the burden in his eyes remains. I know it's a lot to ask. I know the road will be hard. But I want to try. I want to rebuild what's been damaged, even if it takes every ounce of effort I have. This time, the silence is different. It's not filled with the weight of accusation or hurt. It's filled with reflection, with consideration, with the fragile possibility of reconciliation. The three of them sit, each absorbing the magnitude of the situation, the enormity of the emotional journey that has just begun. After a while, Janelle exhales and runs her hand through her hair. We need time. Time to process, to understand, to decide how to move forward. This isn't something we can solve in one call. Meri nods in agreement, softly but determinedly. Yes, time and honesty. Full honesty. Only then can we even think about healing. Kody leans forward, eyes glistening. I get it. I'll give you all the time you need, and I will be as open as can be. No more secrets, no more lies. I promise. This call drags on as the three of them make their way through the emotional repercussions of Kody's confession. The tension is palpable, reflected in the weight of the air, yet a gleam of hope lingers. It would appear that this family has reached a turning point, a moment when the next decisions made will see either rebuilding or continued fracture. Then, just as the call seems to settle into a fragile equilibrium, a notification flashes on Kody's screen. His eyes widen slightly, and a shadow of concern crosses his face. I have to check this, he mutters, tense. Janelle and Meri exchange a nervous glance, an intuitive feeling that this new development is going to change everything again. The storm isn't over. It's only paused, gathering strength for the next wave